Hey everybody, I'm Jeff Teague. I have a super special guest here. This is Sheldon Brown. He's the chief engineer of the 24 Tacoma. He's going to tell us something really cool.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for coming out here, and let's go talk Tacoma TRD Pro, shall we?
Yes. Sheldon, so I thought what we do for this video, you know this vehicle more than inside and out. You've gone next level on this Tacoma. What are some things that get you excited about this that you would want people to know? Some are really important bullet points that make a TRD Pro, not just a TRD Pro, but a 24 Tacoma TRD Pro. And then some things that just get you really fired up, you think people might really like or not know about, like hidden surprises.
Ah, cool. Yeah. So obviously the suspension is, you know, the underpinnings. It's where it starts. It's all about performance motorsports. And I think everybody knows that TRD stands for Toyota Racing Development. And the reality of the situation is we're actually utilizing some of our in-house components and some of the capacity we have from our race teams. And the same groups that are putting out those vehicles on Sunday are helping us to make some of the components. Most notably, our forged and machined upper control arm. This is actually designed together with our teams from TRD in both Costa Mesa, California, as well as North Carolina.
Wow.
You may notice on one side, and it might be a little bit difficult to see, there is a little bit of an Easter egg there. And so up on the left here, we're showing the state of North Carolina. On the right, we'll show California. A little bit something fun for all the folks to know. More importantly, what do you get out of this? Increased strength, lower mass, and an additional ½ an inch of travel. So it's not just jewelry, it's actually functional, it's performance-based, and it does increase overall suspension travel.
Oh, fantastic. And so this is, we all know Fox suspension system, but it's a little bit more than that, isn't it?
It is. In this particular case, we're using our QS3 switchable system, which is really nice because it allows you to dial up or down the amount of absorbing and damping that you're looking for. In our particular case,
I'll go under here while you talk about it.
Yeah, down in the front, we have a switch. When it comes from the factory, we have the initial setting. We call it setting 1, and that's basically designed for really good, supple, I'll call on-road compliance. But if you know you're going to be bombing through the desert, you've got 2 additional locations or settings that really can dial up that for more of that high speed, that high energy performance. So it gets a little bit crispier on road, but certainly has got the ability to be nice and super soft when you get in those high dynamic sort of events off-road.
Really cool. And what else gets you excited about the front end or maybe the powertrain? There's so much to get to.
Well, while we're still staying on the front end, it's important to note that there's a few other things. When you increase the track width of a truck and when you add a different articulation, you have to think about the entire system components, right?
Yeah.
So we got to make sure there's enough compliance in all of the brake hoses. We've got stainless steel braided brake hoses to make sure that we have good strength and performance. In addition to that, of course, we've got a wider track width, and we know there's going to be a lot more forces going into the steering gear. So we have a unique, or I should say a bespoke steering gear set up just for, it actually is for the TRD Pro and for the Trail Hunter. But the idea for that is to make sure that we don't have any peeling of the steering rack ball joint. We don't stop there though, because the other area that's really important, of course, is with that articulation, is making sure that our front half shafts can allow for that additional articulation, but also that they can manage the torque. Because remember, this is our I-Force Max, right? And we're putting in some monster torque. 465 pound-feet of torque we're putting through that drivetrain. So what we use is this high articulation and this, we'll call it a high torque design. It's a very unique design of the actual spline. It allows us to go from 26 degrees of articulation up to 31 degrees. More importantly, when it's up there in that high, basically compressed or highly articulated position, it can actually handle the torque a whole lot better because of that spline design.
Wow, that's amazing. And you know, some other things I like, the Multiterrain Monitor. I feel like this one takes things to even an upper echelon because you can see so many different camera angles, even what's coming underneath if you can't even see the road ahead, right?
That's exactly right. As we start to lift trucks, we start to make them higher and higher. Obviously, the ability from the driver to be able to look down to see what's in front of you becomes more and more difficult. So while lifting trucks is great for ground clearance, it's fundamentally not so great when you're trying to see what is actually in front of you. So we have a number of cameras. We've got a camera up front. We've got a camera right here in the grill. We've got them in the mirrors as well as in the rear chimsel as well as in the rear tailgate. We take those all together and we can mesh effectively a 3D panoramic view of what's happening. And then we can use this to basically look at the image here, and as we progress, we digitally transform that image to show you as your vehicle is going over it. It really helps the driver identify where they want to pick their line and how to avoid a lot of different, I'll say, hazards on the obstacle. One of the things that I like the most, especially where we're driving, if I'm not out and I don't have a spotter, is we also have the ability to see both the front and the rear of the truck. We always talk about when you're driving off-road, drive the rear, right? So many rookie mistakes, or the mistake we tend to want to make is we clear the obstacle at the front and then we start to cut hard because we're looking at what's next.
And you clip the end.
That's right, we're not thinking about the back. That's a really good way to gash a sidewall or potentially, you know, run over a rock that you weren't intending. The great part about this with the side views, we can look straight down here. We can see when the tire is about to adjust it or hit an obstacle, and we can see along the side, both the front and the rear, so we know what we're traversing. So the other thing I think that's really cool, and one of the things that we wanted to develop, was to make sure that we had adequate protection. Now, no one wants a running board on their Desert Racer. I mean, some people will put them on there, but if you're really going to use it for what it was intended for, you usually find that those get torn off. So you either have to take the effort to take them off, or you don't put them on.
Yeah.
In this particular case, we do offer a couple of different solutions. On our Trail Hunter version, you saw the rock sliders. Those are bolted directly to the frame. Those are basically capable of handling half GVW. Those are meant to put on the rocks, slide the vehicle down the rock if you need it. These are what we call Nerf rails, or in some cases we call a rocker protector. These are actually mounted directly to the body as opposed or to the body rocker as opposed to the frame. The purpose of these is to stay skinny, stay light, but as you're running down, if you, for example, you hit a stick or you catch a rock, it throws up and catches you in the door on the underside. These are there to basically push that down if you catch an obstacle on the trail. Really helps protect the lower side of your rocker and the door, but they're lightweight and they're still very functional, and they don't impact your ground clearance.
Okay. You know, and then since we're right here, can we just talk about these IsoDamic seats?
Absolutely.
We'll try to switch it up to show the interior too. Now, this looks like evolved from even the world premiere I saw. I guess that was one of the early versions of those seats. Yep. This looks completely finished to me. Maybe it's not even quite finished.
This is pretty close. There's still a few things we need to do. We've got some ungrained plastic here. The very last thing we ever do with the plastic part is put the grain on it, make sure all of our changes, all the dimensionals are good. But really more importantly, what you're seeing here is actually maybe the first time the execution in black. At the world premiere, we showed you what that looked like with our camo pattern in red.
Yes.
This is the other color that'll be available for those who may not want red, or for example with our Terra, we feel like the black pair is just a little bit nicer. More importantly though, really this is getting into its final execution. We have the ability now to effectively control the motion of the occupant, stabilize the upper body, stabilize the head by absorbing a lot of the inputs. And so we're using an oil over air system, and effectively we're controlling both the lateral as well as the horizontal movements. And the great part about that is, depending on your weight, we have on what type of, whether you're crawling or whether you're running hard, we give you, with our app, we'll give you some recommended pressure settings. Ultimately, you can decide what's best for you. Do you like a lot of motion, a little bit of motion? How much dampening are you looking for? And if you decide you don't want them at all, we have these handy little switches right here. You can see one shows road, one shows rocks. Basically turn them on, turn them off, and you can do that for both the vertical as well as the horizontal adjustability.
I just completely learned something new. That's really interesting.
Yeah, no, it's great. And honestly, the other thing you'll notice is the actual overall styling of this seat is very different. This is a little bit more of a performance inspired seat. You'll see we've got the big bolsters and the high side cushions. Really helps to hold you in that seat. And honestly, they're just really darn comfortable.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And I love the two-tone look and the gloss black accents. That's evolved from previous generations too.
It really has. This was something that we were really passionate about. Two things that we set out to do, and I really want to give credit to our body and our production engineering team. We wanted this truck to look like it was moving fast while it was standing still. And to do that, we wanted this really slick, raked look that came back and just murder out the top, keep it really sinister, but really make it look like it's moving fast. So we were able actually to mold this portion directly, or form, I should say, press this portion directly into the side member outer. That leaves all of our gaps in the back where we can trim that out with the rest of a spoiler. From an engineering and a production engineering standpoint of view and a manufacturing, this is no small task, but the team rose to the challenge and really knocked it out of the park.
That's really cool. And I'm not used to seeing 3 shark fin type antennas up there.
That's right. And those are there for a purpose. The center one is your traditional shark fin. That's what you'll see on most of our trucks. The 2 on the outside are actually there for a wireless trailer camera. So what you have as an option is a transmitter that can go on your trailer. That's taking a picture of what's happening behind you. That is wirelessly transmitting it, and then it's displaying it on your e-display mirror on the inside of the truck. So if you happen to have one of those large box trailers behind this truck, you're maybe carrying a snowmobile, who knows, can't see behind it, no problem. Hook up the wireless trailer, wireless communication, able to see everything that's right behind you.
Okay, that's fantastic. And I noticed that you have different wattage for the power in the back here. If it's an iForce, it's 400 watts. It's a lot more with the iForce Max, isn't it?
It surely is. And we're able to leverage that hybrid powertrain to make sure that we give a lot of power. So over here we get 2,400 watts of power. That's 120 volt power. So we're talking about the ability really of a 20 amp circuit in terms of what you're able to power. I think what's important about this too is we've really been able to take this to the next level. And what I mean by that is you get 2,400 watts here. You get 2,400 watts, of course, on the inside at the center or at the back of the center console.
Right.
And it remains at 2,400 watts while driving. So one of the things in the outgoing, as soon as you shift it into drive, we drop from 400 to 100. Not this truck. She keeps the 2,400 the whole way.
That's really strong. And
and then even on the other side, I should point out, since we're talking power.
Yeah, please do.
We also know people work in and around the tailgate in the back of their truck. So we've got our 120 volt over here. This is where we give you additional, basically 12 volt charging. So you have your traditional 12 volt here, USBC here as well. So if you are using things like iPhones or smaller electronics that are 12 volt based, this is another handy solution to be able to utilize your truck.
That's very cool. And the Trail Hunter actually has an air compressor built in.
It sure does. It goes right here, and that's optional and available to you on this truck as well.
That is really cool. I noticed you couldn't help but hit the button over here. So we've evolved from Tundra. You're like, take that, Tundra. We went one step above because they can go down on the driver's side. And I know we're all a team. I get this. But you just want to say Tacoma bragging rights. Look what we can do with our tailgate.
Well, the great part about, a brother development is there's always a little bit of inter-sibling rivalry. But when we think about this platform, and we have from the beginning, the things that we borrow from Tundra, we want to take those, progress them to the next level. Tundra takes that then and progresses it to the next level. So we really think of this as a family DNA. And this is about building on each truck every time we release something new. So of course, when we did all of this development, we had Big Brother in mind. We can't talk all about future development, but as you understand, we have really been making an emphasis on whatever we do, we can share it across the platform.
I get you completely now. I like the partnership with ARB here.
It is. Actually, this was a really important piece of the next generation Tacoma. We understand that customization is so critically important to people in this segment. People want to make it their own. They want to do a lot of different things with their truck and make sure that it suits the purposes they need. We also said, well, let's think through that. Let's think about how those could be used. And let's look at strategic partnerships where we can leverage know-how from credible sources who have a lot of respect throughout the industry, especially in the off-road industry. ARB was one of those companies. They seem to share common values that we had. And so we decided we don't want to just say, hey, let's have a bolt-on part. We asked the ARB team to come in and co-develop these directly at our tech center, really leveraging the best of what ARB knows in their off-road world with all of the great engineering and the standards and the quality expectations we have inside of Toyota.
Yeah,
it's really a win for our customers, to be honest. And the great part about it is you can buy it straight from the factory, or as we talked about a little bit earlier in our walk around, this bad boy will bolt straight up to even our 32-inch off-road package as well. You have to buy this component and repackage the BSM, but all that hardware, whether it be the Sonar, whether it be the BSM, all can be reused. So again, we're thinking about, this is on Halo, but maybe somebody wants this on their off-road package, their gas model. No problem. You got to remove the plastic bumper cover, but this thing bolts straight up.
Right. And I couldn't help but notice the TRD exhaust too. How's it sound?
Yeah, so the TRD was really fun. We've been focusing a lot on how do you make an L4 motor sound good. We've pulled out everything we can in terms of all of our tricks. And I think we've gotten to a place where we really like the way this muffler sounds. We're using active noise cancellation across almost all of our grades except for the manuals to make sure that we get rid of some of those non-desirable noises and sounds that we get throughout the truck, the vibrations.
Sure.
But we're also using electronic sound enhancement to help, especially inside of the cabin, make this thing sound every bit as well as we could. Now, the great part about that is we really tried to think about how that's integrated. So this is featuring not only our performance TRD intake, but also our low pressure catback performance exhaust. We worked together with the TRD team to make sure that we are basically integrating that ANC and that ESC so that when you bring that tune, they are complementary to one another. Now, the great part is we've made those tunes available. So down the road, if you like the way this sounds and you want to take this to your iForce vehicle and you want to adopt the performance muffler, or the performance exhaust, no problem. We've got an ANC and ESC tune that's ready to go, packaged together, and make sure that you can have that complementary that pairing of the two.
Sheldon, you look excited to talk about what's hidden under door number 1 here.
That's right. Well, we got a little surprise in store. We talked a little bit about it, but we don't always get as much press. But this right here is a hydraulic jound stop. This is integrated directly into the spring seat. And this is really great. Once you go through the compression phase, before you get into the traditional urethane stops, this really provides a lot more, I'll say, relief from those really heavy impacts. The great news, and maybe a little bit of a pro tip for all your viewers, these things can screw right into just about any of the spring seats that we have. So if you had another application or wanted to modify, no problem. You can buy these directly from us at our dealer or through Fox and put those right in your new spring seats.
Well, like you said, truck buyers are passionate about making it their own, customizing, and if they can improve it, this might be a way to do it.
Absolutely.
Now, Sheldon, one thing I was hoping, I love the Tacoma. You can't kill one. We all know that. But the interior, it sure needed to be upgraded, and I think we did this in a big way. Are there any features, gadgets, Easter eggs that you might be proud of here that somebody might think, this is amazing?
Yeah, well, you know, first and foremost, there were some areas, if I got to be honest with you, we had to improve. We wanted to improve the overall seating performance. We've talked about this before, but we raised that hip point, raised the roof up a little bit, making this truck just a little bit more comfortable to live in every single day.
And it's comfortable in the back seat, too.
It really is. We've actually been able to increase about 1 inch of additional legroom in the back. And in the front here, we've, for all intent and purposes, kept the same package. The real important thing here is we have that vertical adjustability. We have the higher general starting point. And then, of course, we've really done a lot to make sure we have good telescoping in, out, up, and down. That's so you can find that really comfortable spot, because everybody's just a little bit different. Some people, you know, a little longer torso, a little longer legs, right? But we want to make sure that that we meet and that it helps for everybody, or fits for everybody, I should say.
Sure.
And then, of course, over here, you know, we've tried to lay this back so we have good charging here. This is updated from our Tundra. So I think you'll find the next generation, the 5th generation, I believe Tundra is going to be adopting here very soon as well.
And I just found a hidden USB-C over here on the right side of the multimedia, so everybody's going to be connected in this truck.
That's really important, right? Because let's say we're off-roading and we want to focus on that camera that we talked about in that earlier conversation. Well, we might have ourselves our trail map here. We want to try to keep your cords organized and focused, and so it's easy to put over there. If you happen to have a passenger, they want to charge their cell phone, a great spot to hang their cell phone, they got a great spot to charge. But I don't want to sleep on this, because this is important. We're showing here, this is actually our high output charging. So 2 USB ports, but we offer 45 watt charging on both of these, and you can see a total of 52.5 watts combined. But that's really important for some of these bigger electronics that we want to make sure that we can charge quickly. So we talked about the 2400 watt inverter that we have in the back. We also have USB-C back here as well. So I always tell people, like, let's say we're taking that ARB refrigerator, we're taking it out to camp, we throw it in the back. All day long we're running it, keeping everything cool. We get to camp at night, we turn the truck off. Well, ARB makes a really convenient large battery that we can basically, it's magnetic, it sticks right to the fridge, you can run the fridge overnight. That can be sitting in here charging while we're out on the trail and we're running the refrigerator all day. So really it's about thinking about how customers are going to use these trucks, how they're going to live in these trucks, and making sure that we provide as many conveniences as we can.
It makes total sense. One thing I want to talk about real quick is the JBL Flex.
Yeah.
This is, you just pop it.
You got it.
And if I want to take it to my campsite or just in the back of the truck or the beach,
Yep.
You just
it's completely,
pop it out.
Yep, completely Bluetooth connectable. Usually we can reconnect inside of less than 1 second. The thing that makes this special, honestly, is there are other Bluetooth speaker applications within trucks, but this one is active. It's an active center channel. When it's in the instrument panel, it's playing, it's charging. If you happen to eject it, or for example, let's say you leave it at home and you're riding in, no problem. The JBL amplifier recognizes that it's missing, and then it redistributes the signal to the tweeters and rebalances your sound. So you get incredible sound with it, slightly diminished, but still excellent performance even without it. So we're able to be flexible. And of course, you know, we wanted to make sure that that was developed to withstand super high heat loads. We are utilizing some new battery technology here in order to do that. We have waterproof capability. You can Bluetooth daisy chain 100 of these things together. So you, your buddies, they can all go to camp and you can have a regular concert. It's really a fun device.
Sheldon, the off-roading tools have evolved as well. I really like just the display. Ergonomically, I like where they are. But we've got a lot of buttons here. What if people don't know what they do and how they can use them?
Okay, well, let's walk you through them and make sure everyone knows what's going on. First and foremost, we wanted to have a center of control. I think on the outgoing truck, we had some controls that were here, we had some that were up here. We really wanted to focus this. So we have, of course, things that are down in the meter. We have our I'll say our infotainment here. This is all of our HVAC control stays in this area, and this is all of our drive mode related type control. So it starts, of course, with our drive mode indicator, where you can go from from 2 high to 4 high to 4 low. We've got our basically our parking brake and hold or brake assist. So if you're in traffic, you can press that button, it'll hold. And then of course our standard parking brake. On side here, this is switchable so that this dial can be used for multiple functionality. The first and foremost you see is drive mode. So in the TRD Pro we have 3: Sport, Normal, and Eco. That's going to change your pedal map as well as your EPS power steering input. And so that helps with for the different modes, throttle control, as well as the steering performance that you'll feel. We have a tow haul mode, which is pretty straightforward. You can put it into a couple of different trailer configurations. You go to tow haul mode, you can see right there. And what this is great for is to basically, it'll change your shift points in such a way that helps you, for example, for engine braking going downhill, but also your transmission shift points up as you're moving up, for example, like a hill or something.
So Multiterrain Select is another one that we could pick, right?
That's right. And Multiterrain Select is available in both for high as well as for low. So we're going to press the button. We're going to use the dial here. And here we have deep snow, mud, sand, dirt, and auto. Auto is new for this. And basically what it's doing is allowing the computer to sense the wheel strip and decide between these different functions, what are you actually seeing at that moment? Because sometimes we go through a mix of, for example, mud, sand, and potentially rock. And so this is allowing the vehicle then to switch between the best of all of those worlds. And so we call that auto mode. And that's new for Tacoma.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that. So.
Yep. And then we go, we have DAC, which is available in 4 high. That's downhill assist control. And you can see it comes on right here. And what this is going to help you do as you're moving down, for example, a steep grade, basically going to continue to brake and allow you to focus on steering, and it's going to help you control your speed.
And you can do, you can do varying levels of downhill assist control.
That's right,
as
exactly.
Well. Cool.
Yep.
That's
and then,
great.
Yeah, and then of course we have our crawl control, updated with our new actuation system, nearly silent. That's available to you in 4 low. Obviously multiple different speeds. The speeds are controlled again right through here. And what that really allows is for the driver to completely focus on steering. The vehicle does the acceleration, brakes any wheels that are slipping, and applies torque to crawl over obstacles. So overall, really cool system in helping give off-roaders tools that they need to make sure they get through those tough obstacles. And we're not done there. So we got a couple of different buttons here. This, of course, is a trailer reverse, and this is the logic that helps you back a trailer straight. So that's really functional, especially for a short wheelbase trailer. Sometimes how you're trying to put a jet ski down into a boat launch and it wants to jackknife on you. This really helps out and continues to basically input the steering angles to make sure that that trailer goes straight back. This view button is great because it'll show us, right now we're in park, so this is a panoramic view of the truck. If we were in gear, it would give us not only a panoramic view, but a frontal view of what's happening. And then if we happen to be driving down the road, and we wanted to see what was going on, it will access the camera and we can see what's happening in the bed behind us. So if you've got a load that's back there, maybe say something that is tied down and you start to see it flap, quick way to get eyes on that without having to take your eyes off the road. This button right here is important. This, of course, is your rear locker. It's electronically controlled e-locker. That's available on ORP, TRD Pro, and the Trail Hunter is standard. And then stabby bar disconnect, and that's or sway bar disconnect, as we're calling here in the button. That's really a great new feature that we've added. Standard on Pro and Trail Hunter, available on off-road packages. That's the ability, whether in motion or static, to disconnect that front stabby bar. It allows about another 4 inches of suspension travel, because typically our suspension travel is limited by what we have in the front. The best of both worlds. You get a sway bar when you're on road for that dynamic performance and to limit body roll, but all kinds of great articulation off-road. So we're really excited about this. It's important to note that that can be it can be engaged or disengaged under full bound condition while you're driving and moving. So really it's another tool. It keeps you from having to get out of the truck, but making sure that you can use all that great suspension travel that we've provided.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I don't want to sleep on this feature here,
problem.
the digital rear view mirror. I just love the fact that you can switch
Yep.
regular, or you can see that clean, crisp view behind you. It's just a feature I wish was in all top levels of every vehicle Toyota makes.
That's right.
I just love that feature.
And this is where we talked about that trailer, that digital trailer camera we'll display right here. So the wireless trailer camera. And you'll be able to see exactly here. So it's like looking out the back of your truck, except for it's wherever that camera's been pointed.
It all comes together now.
It does, right? That's how we all do it.
The other thing, we've got to talk about this light bar. We saw it first with Tundra. Sequoia has it now. This one seems very, very bright though, Sheldon.
Yeah, well, this is like the next generation and the evolution of that. So we're actually pumping at about 10,000 lumen in this new light bar, almost 2 times the throw of some of the other light bars that we have.
Wow.
The great part about this is it really just paints a big, bright, swath in front of you. So when you're moving fast down the trail, you got maximum visibility. When that's not running and you're running with your normal headlights, we also have these rigid, and those are, we call these wide angle fogs. So these are really set to spread to the side and to make sure that when you're coming around and you're cornering, you have great visibility here. Throws almost an additional 8 meters of light to your side, or sorry, 6 meters of light to your side, so that you can see everything around and you can anticipate that turn. Make sure you don't put the tire in the ditch.
Sheldon, thanks for taking the time. You actually went way above and way beyond, so I appreciate you telling the listeners all over the world what's so special about this one, because it's beautiful on its looks, but there's, as we've seen, so much more. So thank you again so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for sharing this with the world, and we look forward to getting you in just a few months into one of these and behind the wheel.
That's going to be great. So thanks everybody so much for watching. Sheldon, you're the best. I learned so much. I thought I know bullet points, and I'm pretty thorough. Nowhere near you. You built this truck. So thank you everybody. Please give Sheldon a hand. You did fantastic. And please follow my suggested Tacoma content. I have lots of 24 Tacoma videos, and the library is going to keep getting bigger and bigger. I'm at Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. Toyota Jeff Reviews. See you next time.